One of the basic tenets that everybody in this country should hold dear is our freedom to exist, our freedom to choose, our freedom to speak our mind. These are all the basic freedoms which we come to expect. One of these freedoms, which appears to be in danger, certainly very prevalently in Scotland, for example, is that freedom of speech, our ability to give our opinion, tell people how we feel without fear of consequence, without fear of being thrown in prison. You have this anti-hate bill in Scotland, which is purely designed to stem public opinion, to stem free speech, and to stem criticism of government establishments. And I believe the whole episode stinks. Now, it's caused absolute uproar in Scotland, and you can see one of the pictures here. This is many pictures of people coming out and saying exactly how they feel about this whole charade. Now, if you agree as I do that free speech or the ability to give one's opinion without fear of consequence is vitally important, subscribe to the channel, because you'll be among friends here, and you know that is valued. When we look at freedom of speech, the ability to give an opinion, there are limits. When you set out to deliberately badmouth, slander, or defame somebody without a shred of proof or evidence, then that's a completely different kettle of fish altogether. Maybe for another video, you never know. But the basic freedom of speech, in that, government has done this and I don't agree with it. That guy's car sounds a bit croaky down the road, or I don't like the way you smell. Yeah, these are all basic freedoms that should not be curtailed. There's been a lot of fuss on social media as well. I mentioned Paz when I did this yesterday, saying that he was crying out to be reported for a hate crime, and the fact that he'd been blocked by Humza Yousaf. I nearly said useless because everybody else calls him that. More famously, JK Rowling said, please arrest me for a hate crime because I'm against these hate laws. And you can see here, which is a bit of a slap in the face for the aforementioned Humza Yousaf. I do struggle with that. The hate law posts are not criminal, the police says. So her right to an opinion has been upheld. But I think more than that, she was trying to make a point and seemed to have done it expertly. One of the most famous, if not the most richest authors in the world, responsible for giving us Harry Potter. Well, surely with a law like this, it should work both ways, wouldn't you say? What's good for the goose is good for the gander. I think the saying goes. Well, this was sent to me, and it raised a smile. Humza Yousaf skewered over hate crime laws, hypocrisy by critics. Lashed out at the First Minister after a clip re-emerged of a speech he delivered, which has been described as blatantly racist. Oh, yes. Well, let's have a look at this, shall we? This is part of a news article that popped up. This is the thing that was sent to me, and we can see here Yousaf has been skewered for hypocrisy by furious critics after an old video of an inflammatory speech resurfaced in the wake of the SNP's controversial Scottish hate crime laws. Opponents of his have suggested he would have been caught out by the new laws after a video from 2020 showed his participation in an anti-racism debate. At the time, Mr. Yousaf highlighted the scarcity of non-white officials in the government ranks and spoke how 99% of the time he was the only non-white person in the room during government meetings. He said it was a collective failure that black and ethnic minority Britons were underrepresented in Scotland, but a clip of his speech has sparked an outcry among Conservatives. They have branded the clip, which showed the then Justice Secretary listing high-ranking white officials, inflammatory, and suggested it would fly foul of these new hate crime laws. In the clip, he can be heard listing prominent Scottish officials and their races, with every individual listed as white following a brief introduction. David Campbell Bannerman, chairman of the Conservative Democratic Organisation, said the First Minister must be relieved to have delivered the speech before his new law came into effect. He said Humza Yousaf must be relieved to have given this speech about white people early enough to not get caught out by the SNP's new law against hate crime. Being anti-white is just as racist as other forms of racism, and it's just as unacceptable. These SNP socialists are a danger to all our freedoms and are spreading anti-white and anti-English hatred throughout their extremism and idiocy. So it's all right for us to have an opinion, and it's all right for us to say we don't agree with something or we think something shouldn't be a certain way. But when the boot's on the other foot, it appears to be all right. You know, this race word or racism has creeped very much into our national identity. When something's not good enough and somebody disagrees with it, all of a sudden, that's what it becomes. It loses its true meaning. With regard to representation within government departments or somewhere like TfL, I've got another story for that in the pipeline. You get to a point where, you know, I could submit a CV to one of these organizations and I wouldn't even be considered because of the color of this. So that in itself, to me, is a hate crime. Should that be reported as well? It's an absolute ridiculous fallacy. And it will be interesting to see how far it goes before somebody is well and truly caught out by their own laws that they actually seek to, you know, proceed with. Crazy world we're living in now. Absolutely crazy. Please let me know what you think in the comments. Perhaps we can have a readout of this. Keep it clean, folks. Hit the like button. Share the hell out of my stuff on all your social media accounts. As always, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. If you want to see another one of my videos, one's popped up just about now. I look forward to talking to you again soon. Toodaloo.